The concept I want to talk about today is sweetness sensitivity. And that's basically how sensitive your tongue is to sweetness. And this is something that really affects the calorie balance issue, right? Because calorie balance is really the only thing that matters in terms of fat loss. And having sugar or not sugar really doesn't matter all that much. But where it does matter is if it affects your calories in. So like if having some sort of like a sugar insensitivity in terms of taste helps you to have more food, eat more, ingest more calories. So really it doesn't matter sugar or not sugar, but if the taste is making you eat more, if you're getting that hedonic effect from eating, if it's causing you to eat food with sugar and fat, which is a very common scenario, because highly palatable foods that you can overeat very easily and tend to taste really good to you, tend to have sugar and fat added together. And then this brings back the calories again, right? So maybe it's not the sugar, but the sugar plus the fat is a lot of calories together, and it tends to sort of push you into the direction of eating more. Obviously going over in terms of the calorie budget, but there's also an effect where sort of you build up the tolerance to the sweetness because your body starts to downregulate the receptors on your tongue, and you need more and more sweetness to get that same sort of fix, if you want to call it. And this is why people call sugar addictive. And there's a lot of sort of argument in terms of science where, you know, they say sugar is as addictive as cocaine, lights up the same areas of the brain. Yes and no. There is some things that has, in terms of dopamine and other things, but that is not as important as the fix you get from having sugar, because you do like the taste of it. That's natural. That's normal. Nothing wrong with you if you like the sweetness. But the problem is you need more and more sweetness as you get used to that level of sweetness. And as I said, the downregulation of the receptors, all that. So there might be a benefit for cutting sugar out of your diet, or at least reducing it. And it's not because sugar is bad, it's not because it's toxic, it's because it affects your calorie balance. Or in the case if you have any sugar blood issues, your blood glucose issues, then of course sugar is going to get into your blood a little bit more, and then because your insulin and all that, it's going to have an effect in terms of damaging your body. But without that being present, if your body normally tolerates glucose, then there's no actual issue with having a lot of sugar. Again, it's really about the calories. So if you're in a calorie surplus and you're having sugar, then that's when it sort of starts to float around your body a little bit more. And there's things that sugar does in the body that affects receptors all over your body that might have some long-term effects. So maybe it just starts with like reducing all the sugary drinks that you might be having, or reducing added sugars in your diet where you can, when you read the label, that sort of thing. So there is an argument to be made about reducing sugars because of this sort of snowball effect that you can probably want to have more and more and more, and that sort of addicting nature of having sugar, but not because anything is inherently bad with sugar. So if you hear someone talking about reducing sugar, as long as they're saying that for these two reasons, to make sure you're not having too many calories, and because you want to have that desensitization, then I absolutely agree with them. If they're sort of making any other argument, I'm not necessarily on board, because there's nothing inherently wrong with sugar in itself. So here I'm saying is try to get your sensitization back up to sugar by reducing the amount you're having, and then enjoying the little bit that you start to reintroduce back into your diet.